The Galactic Council had always dismissed Earth as a harmless backwater world, a planet filled with primitive creatures who fought among themselves, squandered their resources, and barely managed space travel beyond their own moon. For centuries, the ruling species of the galaxy, the Cathari, the Draal, the Vortian, viewed Earth as nothing more than a curiosity, an unimportant world in the vast sea of stars. The Cathari, a race of towering, crystalline beings, had once surveyed Earth millennia ago and deemed it biologically unremarkable. The Draal, cybernetic warlords who had conquered a dozen star systems, saw Earth as a primitive rock unworthy of conquest. The Vortian, an ancient species with near-immortal lifespans, found humans too reckless, too emotional, too unpredictable to be of any significance. And so, Earth was left alone. But all of that changed the day the Rulzaran Empire made the mistake of invading. The Rulzarans were a brutal, war-hardened species, their empire stretching across hundreds of worlds. They were conquerors, believing that only the strongest had the right to exist. They had crushed the Trelkan uprising in a matter of days, reduced the proud Balinari race to servitude, and even driven the fierce Gorathians into extinction. When their warships entered the Sol system, they expected the same easy victory. They were wrong. The first strike came swiftly. Orbital bombardments turned entire cities into rubble, leaving millions dead within hours. The Galactic Council watched from a distance, assuming Earth would fall like so many others before it. They expected humanity to surrender. Instead, humanity fought back. Within hours of the invasion, human forces responded with a ferocity that shocked the galaxy. They weren't just defending their world, they were attacking. Every inch of ground was contested with sheer determination. Every street turned into a battleground. The Rulzarans expected submission. What they got was defiance. The Council had seen planetary resistance before, but this was different. Human pilots, flying machines far inferior to Rulzaran warships, began ramming into enemy vessels in suicidal attacks. Infantry fought in brutal, close-quarters combat, using anything they could, guns, knives, bare hands, to take down their enemies. And when nuclear warheads were launched against the invaders, it sent a message that chilled even the most hardened council members. Humans did not fear destruction. For the first time in their history, the Rulzarans hesitated. Their ships, their armies, their overwhelming technological superiority, it didn't matter. The humans didn't fight for conquest or survival alone. They fought with something the galaxy had never understood before: sheer, unbreakable will. Then, the humans retaliated. Their scientists, engineers, and strategists, once mocked as primitive, began adapting alien technology at an alarming rate. They didn't just fight back. They learned, they improved, and they turned the enemy's weapons against them. Within weeks, human strike teams infiltrated Rulzaran command ships. Within months, entire Rulzaran fleets were being ambushed and destroyed. The Galactic Council watched in horror as the impossible happened. Earth wasn't falling. The Rulzaran Empire was. One by one, their colonies burned. Their warships were hunted down and obliterated, and soon the unthinkable occurred. The Rulzaran homeworld, the heart of their mighty empire, was left defenseless, and the humans, in their relentless pursuit of vengeance, unleashed hell upon it. The war was over. The Rulzarans were no more. And now, the galaxy looked at Earth with new eyes. The Council once thought Earth was harmless. Now they understood the truth. Earth wasn't just another planet. It was a warning. In the aftermath of the war, the galaxy fell into uneasy silence. The once mighty Rulzaran Empire had been erased from existence, their fleets shattered, their homeworld reduced to an uninhabitable wasteland. No one had ever seen a species rise so quickly, adapt so ruthlessly, and retaliate with such relentless fury. The Galactic Council held an emergency summit, their halls filled with hushed whispers and nervous glances. The Cathari, the Vortian, the Draal, and the dozen other dominant species of the galaxy now faced a terrifying truth. Humanity was no longer an overlooked anomaly. They were now the single most unpredictable force in the universe. "They are not like any species we have encountered," said High Chancellor Voshtal of the Vortian. "They do not break. They do not surrender. And worse—" He paused, his glowing green eyes narrowing. "They learn." The Cathari delegate, his crystalline form pulsing with nervous energy, nodded. "The humans took the invaders' technology and improved it. That is what frightens me the most. They did not simply resist the Rule Zarans, they consumed them." The Draal warlord, a cybernetic nightmare of steel and flesh, growled, "We should have eradicated them when we had the chance." The chamber fell silent at his words. That was the unspoken thought lingering in every mind. Earth had gone from an afterthought to a threat overnight. And yet, despite the fear, no one dared make the first move. The humans had not expanded their conquest. They had not demanded tribute or subjugated the rest of the galaxy. They had taken their vengeance, and then they had stopped. That, more than anything, unsettled the Council. Humans weren't driven by the same hunger for power that the Draal thrived on, nor the calculated territorial expansion of the Vortian. No, humanity had proven they were something far worse. They were unpredictable. And then the message arrived. A single transmission sent from the newly rebuilt capital of Earth. It was short, simple, and more terrifying than a declaration of war. "We remember." With those two words, the galaxy understood what they had unleashed. Earth had been attacked, humanity had been underestimated, and now every species knew if another empire ever made the mistake of threatening them again, there would be no mercy. The galaxy would never forget the day it witnessed Earth's power, because humanity never would. The galaxy tried to move on. Trade routes reopened, alliances were reforged, and empires resumed their quiet struggles for influence. But beneath the surface, an unshakable fear lingered. Humanity had changed everything. The Vortian, masters of diplomacy, attempted to reach out. Their envoys arrived on Earth, hoping to mend relations, to study the creatures they had once dismissed as insignificant. What they found was a world that had transformed itself in record time. Human cities, once devastated by war, had been rebuilt with terrifying efficiency. Defense systems lined the skies, energy shields and orbital platforms standing guard over every major population center. Humanity wasn't celebrating victory, it was preparing for the next war. "We do not seek conflict," the Vortian ambassador